armed suspect. So this person is believed to have been armed, at least when that report was made. And we're not sure what's going on, if that's a camera of some sort. It might be a selfie stick, as you're saying, or it could be one of those 360-degree cameras. This could be some sort of a stunt that they're trying to pull.
The Nashville's bigger than 715, though. I think we have more, maybe.
Against the light, and he's putting more than himself in danger, because as we have been seeing, Michelle, he's gone on the sidewalk.
Yo, Bendo, welcome.
Gone in between houses.
This guy's on his phone right now.
Already dangerous enough, and then he has. We've seen at times him pulling out that cell phone, attempting to call somebody, it looks like. He also has the selfie stick.
Armed motorcyclist.
He was doing wheelies at one point, so a dangerous situation already now more dangerous by the behavior that we're seeing from this driver.
Eddie,
again, police indicating that he is armed, possibly with a gun right now, as they're in tracking mode to try to keep up with his behavior.
Yeah, he's heading westbound now. He's on 115th and Avalon. At a high rate of speed here. You see he's about double, not quite double the speed limit on this road, and he's approaching an intersection again and going right through it. Chris, this is pretty dangerous. What's ahead of him right now?
Well, I mean, he's got some more, more suburban traffic at each of these stoplights, and he's got opportunities to get on the freeway. As far as I am aware, he has not actually traveled on the freeway. He's taken surface streets to get down in this area, but he is not stopping for any of these red lights. And as you mentioned, he's putting other people at risk here, not only himself. And that's really playing into the decision-making on the part of that watch commander back at Central Division, who is monitoring this pursuit, waiting for the opportunity to intercept this suspect here. But again, there are about 6 units, 6 black and whites, who are following from a distance, but having trouble keeping up with him because of the dangerous nature of his driving right through these red lights, right around cross traffic, weaving through anybody in his way here. And you can see at each one of these stoplights, he encounters more of that traffic, and just has no hesitation, splitting lanes, going right through cars, and at times, as I mentioned, even jumping onto the sidewalk. So it is a hairy pursuit to say at least. Look at this, more pedestrians, bicyclists, slowing down at least. He's braking, but he is continuing to run right through the red light, just waiting for cross traffic to pass here. At least he's braking. Some encouraging signs there that he's not completely out of his mind, but certainly a very dangerous person.
Prediction,
behind the wheel
there's
here of this motorcycle.
a mod here who can run it,
underneath the Harbor Freeway
but I
here,
can't do it right
underneath
now.
the 110 freeway, and this might put him. Well, yeah, he's going to continue down 115th. He's on 115th, passing Figueroa, showing signs of making a northbound turn down northbound on Denver Avenue. So northbound Denver from Imperial, and slowing down at least just a little bit at times. When he's got free range, he really was pushing the speed limits. Now you can see him slowing down at least a little bit here. I don't know how much more he can have in this bike, but they don't get great gas mileage. Unclear how much he started with here. At some point, that's going to become an issue the way he's been riding, guys.
It looks like he's also on the phone with somebody. We're seeing him kind of speak possibly on speakerphone, and then he's holding the edge of the phone up, it appears, to his ear to try to see what the individual he is speaking to is saying back to him. So that also, I mean, obviously we're told when we're in our cars, don't talk on your cell phone while you're driving. Certainly don't talk on your cell phone while you're in the middle of a police pursuit on a motocross bike, whipping through traffic. So that's just adding to the danger here for this driver.
Yeah, and here's, as he's going northbound on Figueroa Street, heading northbound toward downtown.
I have no idea what's going on.
My concern here is that, he could be talking to somebody who's watching our coverage.
360 cam,
getting information in real time about where the police might be, what tactics they might employ. We don't know that that's what's happening, but he is, it would appear, communicating or at least listening to someone and trying to get information, we presume, relating to his current position, which is that he's being pursued by the LAPD, who want very much to stop him from doing what he's doing. The belief...
Oh, there it goes. Thank you.
Whether, in fact, that happened. Look at that. He just stuck back there, and now he's heading, continuing northbound on Figueroa from Century.
Thank you for the resub.
Northbound from Century, and heading, again, he's going to just head toward the USC, the USC area, and then beyond that, it'll be
going downtown.
downtown.
That's not good.
There's a lot of traffic this time of day that starts stacking up, especially on Figueroa. It's a major north-south artery, an alternative to the
JP,
Harbor
welcome.
Freeway that a lot of people use at this time of day when they don't want to spend all their day on the freeway. So he's going to encounter a lot of traffic. There's people out there walking. There's pedestrians. There's cross traffic. This is not a
welcome.
great situation.
And Chris, those black and white patrol vehicles that you mentioned that are kind of keeping up with him on the ground there, where can you
You barely
see they
hear
are?
me?
Okay, there we go, zooming out. So we
I don't
can
know
see,
what's going on.
that
I
they
can
still
turn it down
have
a little bit.
Eyes on him. He's just a couple blocks
Canadian
it looks
lady,
like
what's
ahead of those cruisers
think
as they
that's
keep
you.
an eye on him on the ground. But again, they're also trying to be mindful of the traffic in this area right now, a little bit after 5 o'clock.
Yeah,
as
okay. This is
rush
harder
hour
for them
really
to keep
gets
up with it
underway.
now.
Yeah, they keep falling back a little bit when it's too dangerous, and then they try and catch up. They're doing a great job staying about a block behind him or so, but as he continues to run through these red lights, he keeps
Damn,
putting
okay.
a little bit
I
of
don't know
distance, just
how
like he
long
is
we're gonna
right
be able to
here.
see this if
No
they can't
problem
keep
going into
up.
oncoming lanes of traffic sometimes.
Must have a no
just
fly
to get
zone
around
here.
some of these traffic jams continuing
Here,
northbound
yeah,
to
she's in the
Figueroa,
background
and
doing her shit
now
here.
stopping for
No, it's fine, it's
well,
fine.
not stopping. We're going right through this red light here, despite the cross traffic
You
there,
said that you
and
made her
that's where
mad.
those units start to fall back. They cannot do what
Don't
he's
worry,
doing
don't
there with those
worry.
patrol cars. So they're now a few blocks back once again, and we're now entering LAX's airspace here as he continues to move away from us. You'll see him getting smaller and smaller as he gets further away. We're holding steady right around the 105 freeway at the 110 freeway. He is paralleling the 110 freeway right
Yeah, I
along
heard about that,
Figueroa Avenue, excuse me, and
I think they
we'll
killed
be able
that
to
lady.
come around
Or they shot
at
her
some
at
point
least.
here and take the 110 north, probably meet him on the other side of the LAX Bravo here. You can see all of those units, though, continuing as they try and catch up once again, but intentionally keeping their distance, as this is in tracking mode, not technically in pursuit mode, but he is continuing this pursuit, refusing to pull over, and I think at some point they're going to have an opportunity if he runs out of fuel here. I just can't imagine that he's going to get
Shout
too
out.
far here. At some point, this ride is going to end.
To
And
Airprint,
they
shout
have
out Beard
continued to keep the pressure on him
1818.
because of
This
the
is
nature
not good.
of the
I think the
crime.
news is
I think
gonna
it's
have
a
to
little
try to
bit
go
more
around.
than just a man with a gun, although that was the initial
could
call.
take a
I
while.
think they are dealing with some more intelligence, although that is just speculation on my
Yeah, he's
part.
not going that
based on
fast.
some of the tactics they're using here and the amount of units they're dedicating to this pursuit. A little bit unusual, especially for a motorcycle. These motorcycles can be very squirrely. They're very hard to pursue, especially during rush hour conditions like we're seeing here in South LA. To dedicate that many units and to keep
Hey,
the pressure
Sven,
on
welcome.
as long as they have. This has been going on for upwards of a half hour, maybe even 40 minutes or so, and they're not making any effort to pull back whatsoever. They are trying at all costs to keep up with him as he now, I think, makes that right turn back underneath the 110 freeway.
All right, eastbound on Florence is what we're hearing from Figueroa. And I believe the video we're looking at on the right is video from earlier. This shows the extent he was going to when he was in some of these neighborhoods to try to get away from police. He was moving pretty fast. Now he's going northbound on Grand, so we should see him pop out a little bit on the video on your left, on the screen on your left. And we apologize for the width of the shot. We're trying to reacquire him. We had to obey the FAA rules regarding getting into LAX airspace, so we had to back off and then go around, head east, and then northbound as he did.
And yeah, I don't know
So
how much
we
gas
are
these things
doing
can
that
possibly
in Air 7 while we're trying to reacquire this individual that the LAPD is also trying to get back a hold of, at least visually.
see,
We
I
don't
wish
know
they
if
would
their
stop showing this
helicopter is still
replay right
over
now.
him and able to track. But this is a difficult thing,
There he is.
especially with a motorcycle. Oh, looks like you found him.
Yep, taking the freeway. First signs of getting on the freeway here, and he is now
Tina,
northbound
welcome.
on the 110 freeway through this rush hour traffic. Actually, I got to say the
Shout out
northbound
Tony
side
and Nina.
is relatively light right now, so we'll see how the behavior changes here as he drives through pretty moderate traffic, I would say, on the northbound side of the 110 freeway. That'll give LAPD, though, plenty of opportunity to get onto the freeway with him, and they were positioned to do that. They'll probably be popping into the shot here at any moment. California Highway Patrol also tracking this pursuit. This is now on the freeway, so that is part
Okay.
of the course here, par for the course, I should say. And he
Can we
is
get
now
the
splitting those
the
lanes,
helicopter
probably
to
up a little
get
more
closer?
distance as those units close in on him as he passes Vernon Avenue.
Yeah, does it appear that he's going a bit faster now? From our vantage point, maybe it looks like it.
Not really. He's kind of going with
Looks
the
like the
traffic
helicopter's
here,
actually
and
moving
it's a little
closer
bit of
to
an
him at
optical
this point,
illusion,
which
too.
is good.
As we approach him, you'll start to get a better idea of his speed, but we're kind of directly behind him, shooting from a distance. A little bit hard to tell. He's probably doing right around the speed limit with the rest of the traffic here. Northbound through Vernon, northbound 110 freeway. We'll see if he picks up any speed here. Of course, the more speed he picks up, the more fuel
Yeah, this
he's
is
going to
be a cool
exhaust here,
video, at
and
least,
that'll
if he's
only
got that
limit
camera in
his
his back.
ride even further here. But he is picking up a little bit of steam now, pulling over to the right lane, might even be thinking about getting off the freeway.
All right, and let's talk for a second about what tactics they can employ here against a motorcycle. They can't really use a spike strip, right? Or I guess they could if they could make sure that he would run over it, but they can't use a pit maneuver against him because that could be considered almost lethal force, I think. So
yes.
what
The
in
new
terms of the
speculators
tactics that
are
the
active.
pursuing
I guess they
officers
could
can
use a
employ,
spike strip.
they're kind of limited.
No, those tactics are all off of the table with a motorcycle. Yet another reason why these motorcycle pursuits.
The people in the news station just bring up everything they've ever heard or
because
seen
you
in
really
the
are
police chase.
limited
Well, what about
in
a
terms
spike
of the
strip? What
options
about
that
a
law
pit
enforcement
move?
has at their
Could
disposal.
they just
The best they can hope
do?
for is that he boxes himself in, and by being in the right position, they can be ready for the termination of the pursuit. But unless that happens, he's going to be able to weave through traffic.
Yeah,
he's going to be able to split lanes.
this traffic
he's going
don't
to be
matter
able
to him.
to put space between them, and they
That's how
really
Greg
don't
rides
have
his
much that
push
they
bike.
could do unless he
Right through
poses a
traffic.
lethal danger to them. And then, of course, they have more force that they can employ in that event. In the event that he
Why
was
are they
to
after him?
pose a
So they
threat to
say that
officers,
he's
that would change
potentially
the game
armed.
quite
I don't
a
know
bit. But
what
other than
started
that,
all this.
It's really a game of watching him,
The news
especially
people
with the luxury
need
of
to
that
roll
air
up,
support
right?
up above, able to track
It
his
should be
each
obvious.
and
No,
every
they're not
move
going to use a spike
from the
strip on a
sky,
fucking bike.
relaying his location to those ground units, and then being in position to end this safely and
What's
resolve
up,
it
Rusty?
by taking him into custody,
Good to
hopefully
see
as
you.
peacefully as possible. But
And
with
Michael
a man
and
who's
Joe.
believed to be armed,
Lee,
again,
what's up?
all bets are off, and we can only hope that his intentions are to just end this as peacefully as possible. Hopefully, he doesn't even think about pulling out that weapon.
Yeah, and it looks like traffic's slowing down right now in this area.
Yeah, he's lane
but,
splitting. It's easy.
You know, the advantage for
Throwing
this
him, there you go.
individual on this motorbike is that he, can
He's
weave
going
in
by
and out of
K-Town
traffic.
now?
So when the cars are kind of stopped and backed up on the freeway there, that doesn't necessarily impact him as much.
Maybe getting off here. Looks like he is showing signs. You're right. We're in the thick of rush hour now as we make our way squarely into the downtown area, transitioning, I think, onto the 10 freeway, taking I believe that's going to be the eastbound transition from the 110
legal?
freeway to the 10. We'll see if that's correct. No, I think he's taking the westbound. Is that going to put him on the westbound, Rob? I think it's going to be onto the 10 freeway here. Here's the split. And
Boy,
where'd he go?
Squeezing right
Where did
behind
he
that
go?
truck. There
AI
he is.
drone spike strip.
Behind the
There
truck.
you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Getting off the freeway altogether. Getting off the freeway
Okay.
altogether at Cherry Street.
Here we
Picking up a
go.
little bit of speed here. We'll see if those units can get off with him. But he has
Going
now put some
downtown.
serious distance between himself and those pursuing officers. We counted about a half a dozen units that were able to make their way onto the freeway with him. But again, he's been able to really put a lot of distance in between them. But hopefully they'll be able to catch up here as he passes the convention center. Now
JT,
coming
that's
out
not a bad
onto-
idea.
He's on Pico, coming up on, I believe that's going to be Figueroa, making the left northbound turn onto Fig. And
The first
this
version of the
is
bingo
going to
card
be
had
the classic
Figueroa
move,
on it.
right, guys? Right in the middle of downtown LA. And unless they can keep eyes on him, there are just too many hiding spots with a vehicle, any vehicle, let alone a motorcycle, where there are just so many parking garages, so many tall buildings.
Yeah.
Even for that helicopter,
This is gonna be tough
it's
for
about
them to
to get
keep
a lot
following.
trickier
Oh,
to
when is my
maintain a visual
parking-
of him. As you can see, we are able to keep that that line of sight clear. But if he starts
think I
to,
still got like 30
you know,
minutes on my
starts
parking
to
or
zigzag
something.
through these buildings, it's going to be a whole
I still have
different
like 30
ballgame.
minutes,
I would
right?
not be surprised
It's
to
right,
see
my
him
car's
dump this
right
bike
there.
by any means.
Yeah, what's interesting, I'm
Well,
wondering if there's any
I'm
significance at
saying-
all to this insignia that we're seeing on what he's wearing, on the jacket, on the black jacket, the black
Yeah, we could
pants.
do that.
Whether that has some meaning or
Well, I think
or
I still
not.
have like 30 minutes.
And I'm very curious about that device
Okay, yeah,
that is in the backpack.
I think we got
that
there at
is,
6 and I paid
that
for 2
may
hours.
be one of those 360-degree cameras, as described by one of our technicians here at ABC7. So I'm just curious about what exactly is going on here and why this person allegedly
You showed that to me me for about half
had a gun
second.
or
I'm
had a
not
gun
seeing
and
anything.
at least made that evident to someone who felt unsure enough about it to call the police and to be concerned about the possession of that weapon. So there are a lot of questions that need to be answered here. We may not get him if he ends up dumping this bike and getting away from the police. We may not know what's going on in this person's mind, what this was, whether it was a stunt or whether it's something far more sinister. We just don't know yet. And but we do know, I think, is that, you know, he's in a position where he can get away from the pursuers if he wants. He certainly, if he wants to aggressively try to get away from the pursuing officers, he can. There's lots of places he's already passed that he could duck into or look like he's ducking into and go somewhere else. So it's curious right now. He's going straight northbound. It's still on Figueroa, is that correct?
Northbound Figueroa.
Going through the lights like
passing
this, yeah,
through
Rusty,
the
this is
downtown
nuts.
area.
15 minutes is up Sentinel's
on
over
the
here.
north side, maybe even hit the 101 freeway here. He is splitting those lanes,
Damn, look at
putting
him.
real
This is
distance
tight.
between
This is
him
really
and any
tight.
of those LAPD units. But he's navigating this traffic really well. That is at a standstill at these various intersections. He's using
it's like
every
a
ounce of pavement
dirt
at
bike,
his disposal, making a right turn here, possibly onto 3rd Street or just going around traffic on Fig and continuing. It looks like continuing northbound Fig. Northbound Fig. Now on the north side of downtown LA. Thankfully, that air support helicopter able to maintain a visual, still following him from above and devoting still all of those ground resources to trying to catch up with him. So they are not letting up on him, but he is underneath that tunnel, a notorious spot for pursuits to end. We'll see if he comes out the other side or not. He may or may not. This is just an iconic spot where he may very well be gone with the wind. We'll see where he comes out here. It's always a little bit tricky as we make our way through downtown LA.
Yeah, and just based on how we saw him moving through downtown Los Angeles, I mean, it certainly looked as if he is familiar enough with this area to kind of know what turn to take versus what turn maybe would not work in his favor. Would you agree, Chris?
I missed that, Michelle, one more time.
I just was mentioning that based off of the behavior that we saw from him in downtown Los Angeles in terms of the turns he was taking or not taking, it seemed as if he was relatively familiar with the area and knew how to kind of maneuver his way as best possible to avoid authorities.
Well, I think it's fair to say we're in the area, in the general part
he
of
went
town
under
where
this
this
big
exactly
underground
but it does seem
tunnel thing, and he hasn't
popped
out as far as we know.
Not a close distance.
At least the newscopper doesn't seem to know where he is now.
It seems like it is an area he may be more comfortable with. It's a little bit hard to say. He seems, by my eye, to kind of be making these turns up as he goes along. These appear to be mostly random turns.
Did you ever go down that tunnel? I don't think so.
With that
I was right over there, but I didn't walk through it.
It seems to be part of his intent here, but what exactly is going through his mind, what he's doing with that weapon, how all of this started.
He has a 360 cam, sticking out his backpack.
But I do agree with Mark and Mike. It does look like one of those instant 360 cameras, if not some other type of camera stick. But in any event, he was using that. At one point, he actually had it in his hand. It wasn't just hanging off the tail. He actually had it in his hand and was waving it around
he's making
as
content.
he was shooting with it, and then he put it back and was using his cell phone at various points. He appeared to be talking into the speakerphone, communicating with somebody, and now he just seems to be focused on hiding out as he is now
he also
made
showing?
his
He
way
might
into
be.
downtown LA.
He had like a
and is
camera
somewhere
sticking
in
out of
these
his
tunnels,
bag, so he's
as
definitely
they try
recording
and pick
this.
up once again right underneath the road.
All right, well, we're going to leave you on station there, and we're going to pick this up if the pursuit continues, if there's some sighting, if there's a development here that we can trap, and rather than stay static over these buildings where we can't see much of anything. We're going to come back to this as needed if something new develops. We know the LAPD is still very much interested in this. We will come back to you. In the meantime, there's other news to cover.
That's certainly right. An LA ordinance banning homeless encampments within 500 feet of schools.
But an encampment that's close to 2 LAUSD schools has parents worried about the safety of their kids.
Does anyone else know of this on any other news station? Like, do you guys see it anywhere else?
Well, Mark and Michelle, let's start off by showing you exactly where this camp is. It is on Wilshire, right between Little Street and Union Avenue. This is just
as soon as he went downtown, it seemed bad for my stream anyway.
You can
So,
even see the tops of these tents. Now, just a few hundred feet away.
does anyone know if it's on any other news station right
In a
now?
different direction is this elementary school. Now, parents are telling us they
Fox?
are deeply concerned about this camp. So we wanted to know, what is the city doing
Okay,
about
hold
it?
on.
The students and anyone heading down Wilshire can't miss the encampment. And as soon as the
Okay, I'm gonna try and find it. Fox 11.
I influenced you to that you actually saw it.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go at this video. People who are watching Susan
Got in the waistband. So right now we have to get that information through the.
Fuck, what happened? Get out of here. Can it go sideways, please? Please. This is not great. Okay, come on. Yeah.
Armed with a gun. What happened? The gun. What happened that they feel like they need to?
Oh, it won't go sideways.
All right, we are going to keep an eye on this.
Yeah.
The gun. What happened that they feel
No.
like they need to really?
Is Fox on
We are going
YouTube?
to keep an eye on this.
Oh,
with our assignment
they
team,
lost
but
it
move
too.
on to some other news for you right
They're
now
leaving
as
it
we
too.
continue to
Okay.
bring you the day's news here in Southern California.
Go back where? Yeah, I think they've gone away from it now. They're... No, it's not.
Sometimes they show right away and sometimes they don't.
Yeah,
So,
I think it's over.
you know, it's so like not satisfying everybody when it's over. Like I want to know what.
Why can I not see my chat anymore? This is the replay. Okay, guys.
Lucky, hello.
I think I'm going to log off for now. If I come back, it's because there's a police chase going again.
Lost their
But
homes
for
in
now, feed just ended. Yeah, alright guys, thank you. I'm going to have to end it. Poll is a no. Usually I just say that it's refund. If we don't see the end, I think we should refund the points. That's typically how I do it. So anyway, yeah, just refund it. If so please sentence refund it if you're here, otherwise I'll get on it. But thanks everyone. If there's a chase later, I'll be back. And yeah, I'm over with Jenny right now, Crispy Jenny, twitch.tv/Crispy Jenny. If you want to join up with us, we're still out here streaming. Have a good night.